give people a chance to stop in. Let's give everybody time to get in here. Let me pull my script up anyway. Well, not my script, but it's notes that I've made that I call my script because I'm always looking down at it. But I got a lot tonight to talk about with this card. All right, once it hits 1 minute, I'll just go ahead and get going. All right, so today's message, all right, yesterday was about heartbreak, despair, all this. So today, it's about healing. Like, we've been sitting in heartbreak, at least for a couple days. Got to get out of it at some point. So now we're going to move forward. We're going to move forward from this heartbreak. We are done sitting in heartbreak. And I don't mean that in a cold way. I don't mean that in a just get over it way. I mean that in a soul deep decision kind of way. Because there comes a moment when you realize you have been carrying something that is no longer carrying you. And that moment changes everything. This is not a message for people who don't care. This is not a message for people who didn't love deeply. This is for the ones that gave everything, who showed up, who tried, who loved with their whole heart and still ended up empty. Because let's be honest for a second. Some of you have been calling it healing. But what you've been doing is revisiting the same wound over and over again. Checking their energy, wondering what they're thinking, hoping something shifts, looking for signs, pulling cards, watching readings, which I'm not judging you for that, but I am going to tell you the truth. At some point, that stops being healing and starts being attachment. Hello, everybody who's just coming in. And tonight we break that. Not by forcing yourself to stop caring, not by pretending it didn't matter, not by shutting your heart down, but by finally asking yourself, how long am I going to stay in a place that hurts me? Because love, real love, does not leave you in constant confusion. It doesn't make you question your worth. It doesn't make you feel like you have to prove yourself. It doesn't make you feel like you're too much one day and not enough the next. And if that's what you experienced, then you weren't being loved the way you deserved. And I know that's hard to hear because it's easier to believe that if you did something differently, said something better, showed up more perfectly, then maybe it would have worked. But hear this clearly. You should not have to become perfect to be loved properly. Okay? Some of you have been holding on to potential, not reality. Not consistency, not what actually happened, but what could have been. And potential is one of the most dangerous things to fall in love with because it keeps you emotionally invested. It's something that never fully existed. And that's why it's been so hard to let go, because they were perfect. Not because they were perfect, but because the version of them in your head was. And tonight we release that. We release the vision of them that only showed up sometimes, and we release the vision of them that said the right things but didn't follow through. We release the vision of them that made you feel loved just enough to keep holding on. But just enough is not enough. You deserve consistency. You deserve clarity. You deserve to feel chosen without having to question it every day. And I want you to really sit with this next part, because this is where the shift happens. You're not losing them, you are losing the attachment. To a version of love. You are losing the attachment to a version of love. And that version of love that was not fully loving you back, that is not a loss. That is a release. Now, I want you to check in with yourself. Not your thoughts, not the story, not what will happen, but your body, right? Are you tired emotionally, mentally, spiritually? Because some of you are exhausted and you didn't even realize it, because you've been so focused on holding on. And what if, just for a moment, you allow yourself to put it down? Hello. And what if, for just like, sorry, I was rereading my notes from this point. Hello. Okay, just for a moment, you allowed yourself to put it down. Not forever, not in a dramatic all or nothing way, just for tonight. Put down the overthinking. Put down the waiting. Put down the wondering, and just be there with yourself. Because the truth is, you have been showing up for them in ways that you haven't even been showing up for yourself. And that's where your power has been leaking. But not anymore. Tonight is not about them. It's not about what they're doing. It's not about whether they'll come back. It's not about what they feel. Tonight is about you. Your energy, your peace, your healing, your worth. And you need to say, I choose myself. Like, seriously, sometimes you need to say that out loud. I choose myself. And I know that feels unfamiliar, because you've been choosing them, their feelings, their potential, their inconsistency. But now you have to choose you. And that doesn't mean you didn't love them. Doesn't mean it didn't matter. Doesn't mean it wasn't real. It just means you matter too. This is your turning point. Not because the pain disappears overnight, but because you stop feeding it. You stop checking. You stop chasing. You stop needing answers from someone who already gave you one through their actions. And instead, you start rebuilding yourself slowly, gently, honestly. And one day, you're going to wake up and it won't hurt the same. Not because you forgot them, but because you finally remembered yourself. And this is your message for tonight. And if this found you, then you already know you're ready to let go. Not of love, but what was never fully loving you back. Okay, and that is where the star comes in. This card is a card of emotional healing, okay? The star is not loud. It's not dramatic. It's not chaotic. It doesn't come in like a storm and flip your world upside down. It comes in quietly, like peace returning to your body. It's the moment where your chest doesn't feel as tight. It's the moment where you realize you went a little bit longer without thinking of them. It's that moment where the pain is still there, but it's not consuming you the same way. That's the star. And I want you to understand something really important. The star does not ask you to forget what happened. It doesn't ask you to pretend you weren't hurt. It doesn't ask you to erase the love you felt. It just asks you to stop abandoning yourself because of it. Because some of you, and I'm saying this with love, you've been more loyal to your pain than you have been to your healing. Let that sit. The star is where you redirect that loyalty back to yourself. The woman in this card is pouring water. And I always say this in my readings, but she's not pouring into anybody else. She's not chasing anyone. She's not begging. She's not waiting. She is restoring herself. Pouring back into her spirit, pouring back into her energy, pouring back into the parts of her that were drained trying to love somebody else. And that's what you're being called to do now. Not to become cold, not to stop loving, but to finally include yourself in the love that you've been giving away so freely. Because your healing is not going to come from them returning. It's not going to come from an apology. It's not going to come from closure. It's going to come from you deciding, I deserve peace, even if I don't get answers. And I know that's not always the easiest thing to accept. Because part of you still wants to know what they're thinking, how they feel, if they miss you. But the star says you don't need to know all of that just to start healing. You just need to come back to yourself. And healing under the star is gentle. It's not forcing yourself to be okay overnight. It's not pretending you're over it when you're not. It's letting yourself feel without letting those feelings control your entire life. It's crying when you need to cry, but it's not staying stuck there forever. It's missing them, but choosing not to lose yourself in the process. So even when part of you still hurts, and I want to say this too because it matters, just because you're healing does not mean what you felt wasn't real. You can heal and still have loved them deeply, you can move forward and still honor what you had. Those things are not in conflict. The star doesn't erase your love. It restores you. And that's the shift. So if you're sitting there right now, feeling that mix of emotions, the sadness, the release, the clarity, the exhaustion, this is your confirmation. You are not falling apart. You are coming back together, slowly, gently, in your own time. And one day, you're going to look back at this version of yourself, the one who thought they couldn't let go, the one who thought they couldn't survive this. And you're going to realize that you did. Not because somebody came back, but because you chose yourself. That's the star. Not false hope, not waiting, not wishing, real healing, real peace, real restoration. And if this is your energy right now, then that is exactly where you need to be. Then you're exactly where you need to be. You know? You need to heal. And healing takes time, and it is not linear. Hello. Healing is definitely an emotional roller coaster. Some days you're at the top, all right? You're feeling good. You're ready to take on the world. And the next day, you're in your bed crying again. But that's part of it. You just got to learn to let go of the things that are making you cry in your bed. And the days that you're on top, you went a little bit longer without thinking about those things that have you crying. So that is today's message. Let's see what everybody's been saying in the comments. I haven't really been paying attention all that much. I think I got a troll in here. Where is the best trainer? I don't know. They probably left. But hello, Josie. There was a Jason. So, anybody, hello, everybody that just came in. How's everybody's night going? And somebody, so Spirit is definitely saying somebody needs to hear this, but you're stronger than what you feel like you are. I don't know who that's for, but you're stronger than what you feel like you are. And you need to let go. And the past hurts, but the feelings of it won't stay the same. That's what they are telling me. So I don't know who that's for, but let go of the past. I don't know. I feel like maybe shuffling and drawing another card. This deck is my favorite deck so far. It is gold, black and gold, and shiny. And I love it. Let's draw another card. See what this message is. Thank you. What is this? Knight of Pentacles. All right. So, yeah. Healing is going to take time, and it's going to definitely require slow building effort, for sure. Slow and steady wins the race. That is what this is telling me. So time and effort paves the way. Maybe I'll talk more on that card tomorrow. A lot of the cards that I talk about, I sit there for like, I want to say 30, 40 minutes writing everything out, listening to spirit. I do. So in my tarot readings, when you guys get a tarot reading from me, each and every single card that I pull, doesn't matter how much I pull, sometimes it can be up to like 18 cards, even just for 5 questions. I've definitely done that before. But each card ends up being completely channeled. 100%. Whether it be through intuition or what spirit is saying. More often than not, what spirit is saying. Of course, intuition is part of it. I read more intuitively now than I did before. For sure. But so each time that I do a reading and I'm pulling like 10, 12 cards, I do sit there and I meditate on each one, and I write down, you know, how it's applying to your situation, maybe what's a little bit of what's going on in your situation, maybe some answers that you need. Like a lot of it, it's answers that you need, or hidden truths that need to be revealed. And spirit, they do a good job at exposing the truth. Anyway, I don't really know what else to say for tonight. But yeah, healing does take time, and it is definitely a journey. All right. Well, I think I'll end the live a little bit early tonight. Unless more people come in. Because I'm not sure what else to say. Spirit, do you have any other messages for me today, Spirit? They said, I don't know who this one's for. They said, if you think you are worthy of your own self-doubt, then you need to sit there and think a little bit longer of why. So basically, if you're sitting in self-doubt, if you are accepting what you are thinking of yourself in a state of self-doubt, you need to ask yourself why you are accepting that self-doubt. So, anyway, I think I will leave everybody with that message. Today has been, it's been a good day. So I hope everybody else's day is good, and I hope everybody that needs the healing from the heartbreak, from, you know, the 3 of Swords that we did last time, gets on that healing. All right. Bye.